Hello, my name is Dr. Ruthie. I'm a professional sexuality educator. I blog over at exploringintimacy.com and I'm the author of The Nice Girl's Guide to Talking Dirty. But today I'm here thanks to the great folks at funwares.com answering your questions about sex and relationships. So thanks to Funwares. And I got a great question that came in through email. Dear Dr. Ruthie, how come each time I ejaculate it's less and less? Great question. I have very little information about you, basically none. I'm going to guess that you're male, and we're going to move from there. Now, the people who ask me this question most often tend to be younger men, young adults, who are having a lot of orgasms. So I'm going to kind of make that assumption, but I'm going to go through a few different possibilities as well here. So the first thing is I want to talk a little bit about what is in semen or ejaculate, the stuff that's coming out when you have an orgasm that you're wondering about the volume. One thing that is going to possibly blow your mind is, just to give you a little background information, is that orgasm and ejaculation are two different things. They often happen at the same time for guys, but actually you can have an orgasm without ejaculating. Crazy, right? Could you ejaculate without having an orgasm? That's a really good question. I'm going to have to look at the research for that. Interesting stuff, hey? So anyway, now that you know that background, let's talk about what's in ejaculate. Just want to let you know, because I may use the word orgasm and ejaculate, kind of interchangeably here, but I did want to make sure to put it up front from the beginning that they don't necessarily have to happen at the same time. Okay. So where does this stuff come from? Well, a lot of people think that ejaculate is just a whole ton of tiny sperm just going crazy in some water. Actually, sperm is volume-wise one of the teeniest, tiniest amounts of ejaculate. So ejaculate, what's in it? Well, about 2/3 of it, a little less than 2/3 of it, is created by a part of the body called the seminal vesicles. I'm going to pop up a picture from Wikipedia here. Definitely go in and check out. I did not make this picture. It's from them with a Creative Commons license, so it's their male anatomy image, and you can see the link down there. Anyway, so let's talk about the different parts of the body. You can see where the penis is, you can see where the scrotum is on this picture, but I want you to look above the scrotum, above the balls, the testicles and stuff, into the part of the body there, and you'll see a labeled part called the seminal vesicles. The seminal vesicles is where a little less than 2/3 of it comes from, the liquid and proteins and all that stuff in there. A little less than 1/3 of it is made in the prostate, which is not too far away from the seminal vesicles. We're still not in the scrotum yet. We're still not in the balls yet. 5% or so, just a tiny little bit, is made in the testicles and the epididymis. So not very much volume coming from the boys hanging yonder, right? Most of it is made up in the body, which is a surprise for a lot of folks. So very interesting stuff. So for instance, if someone has had a vasectomy, or so they're infertile, they have no sperm coming out, or they're just naturally infertile and aren't making sperm, the sperm isn't coming out at all. There's different kinds of infertility, but if there's no sperm in there at all, that kind of infertility, you won't even really see the difference in volume. It doesn't make any difference. So someone has a vasectomy, your semen looks just the same. Under a microscope, sure, it would look different, but most lovers are not kinky in the way where they're looking at each other's bodily fluids under microscopes. Hey, if you're that kind of sex nerd, more power to you, then you would see a difference, but only then. So now we know a little bit about what's in this stuff. How many sperm are in these things? Totally depends on you, how often you're getting off, how much sperm your body's producing, how old you are. Could be a few dozen million up to hundreds of millions of sperms per ejaculation. And it also has to do not only with how often you ejaculate, so you're starting to get the answer to your question here, but also how much stimulation. So there's likely to be more sperm and potentially more ejaculate if you're stimulating yourself longer, more intense, a longer period of time, really working yourself up to get excited, and then you can find more. The volume of ejaculate varies very much. Of course, when boys first start ejaculating, very early on in puberty, the amount tends to be very small, and then it hits a peak around the most fertile ages, and then reduces with age from there. So, it could be less than a milliliter. It could be up to like 10 milliliters. So 5 milliliters is a teaspoon, so that kind of gives you an idea of how much we're talking here. So if you see porn and these guys are just coming gobs and strings and tons of ejaculate, and you think, God, this has got to be like a cup of ejaculate or something, probably there's a little bit of camera magic going on there. Some guys do ejaculate a whole lot, but if you're somewhere in that tiny amount to a teaspoon to a bit over a teaspoon, maybe up to two teaspoons, you're right in that average area. You're right, in the statistical average range. So those huge tons and amounts is not in the statistical average normal kind of range. So, basically, if your body needs time to make more of the stuff that's created by the seminal vesicles and the prostate, it also needs time to make more sperm, but that is not going to give you any kind of noticeable volume difference. So we won't worry about that because this is not a fertility question. So you got to give your body a chance to, kind of bounce back and make some more of that stuff if you want to see the same level of volume. Now you can ejaculate frequently, get yourself down next to nothing, and it's not that there's no inherent risk involved in that, so that's fine. You're not if you have low ejaculate because you're getting off a whole lot, you're not doing damage to yourself or anything like that. So don't worry. But if for some reason volume's important, you got to give it a little time between tries. And take a look at other different factors like, your stimulation level, just fun homework, be your own home scientist, your own home researcher. Now, a couple of things I want to toss in there. I don't think this is your issue, but your question is very short, and just for other people who are watching this, if you have a sudden reduction in the amount of semen you're ejaculating, and it's not linked to getting off a lot, you haven't been getting off a lot lately, a few things to think of. If it's thick and clumpy, you need to rehydrate yourself, drink some water. If it stays kind of thick and clumpy and not a lot for a few weeks, even though you've been drinking a lot more water and rehydrating yourself, you really need to go to a doctor and check that out. It could be a symptom of a bigger problem than dehydration. If you're suddenly having a lot less, it's not thick and chunky, there's just little or nothing, and you haven't been getting off a lot recently, definitely talk to your doctor. It could be related to medications you're taking. Obviously, if you've had a prostate procedure, hopefully they talk to you about that possibility. But it could also be a sign of other issues. There could be a little blockage. There could be some retrograde ejaculation, which can be linked to other kinds of health problems. I am not a physician, so I cannot diagnose you or give you any kind of medical advice, but I'm just trying to give you some basic information out there to let you know when it's time to talk to your doctor. So to the person who wrote this, you didn't give me any indication to think that that would be, of concern, but just for all the people who are listening, I wanted to put that good extra health info out there. Talk to your physician, your medical practitioner. Good. So now we know what the heck semen is, where it comes from the body, that you need some time to recharge if you're going to get that same volume level, and what a normal volume level range is. So I hope this helps you out. I'm Dr. Ruthie, and I will see you at the next video. Thanks!